are going to be learning about Job 1, winning the minds of the employees. My name is Amy, and I'm going to take you through why winning minds and employee engagement is important. And we are going to do it as it pertains to retention. This is Paul's story. It is about how his organization was suffering high turnover, but through winning the minds of the employees, a plan was put in place to turn it around. But before we start, let me tell you what it means to win minds through business literacy and engagement. Why is this important? Because businesses need to ensure the employee understands the company's strategy, the objectives, and their role in the process. Check out this motivational video on employee engagement.
Let's hear a little bit of the backstory from Paul.
Hey, so my name is Paul Bucknor, and I work for a financial planning firm located in Maryland, just a few miles outside of Washington, D.C. And my firm is a relatively small firm with about 15 employees. 14 of us are located here in Maryland, but we have one financial advisor down in Florida who sort of handles most of our retired clients. And over the years, we've had a number of issues with both the employee and client turnover rate. So employee turnover was probably the biggest issue, I think, because we don't have that many employees to begin with, and clients were constantly recognizing this cycle of continuously getting introduced to new employees, which I think personally in the long run created a disconnect because their ability to trust us continued to diminish. As a result, our clients began to find it easier and easier to terminate their contracts and relationships with the firm because they simply just didn't have any interest in us. After some brainstorming, the new president of the firm recognized that we were fundamentally stuck in our practices, therefore we weren't adjusting to the needs of our clients. So we realized that if we continue to hire employees without any vision, we wouldn't be able to escape this cycle. So the leadership team came up to the conclusion that if we work on creating this environment that was beneficial to employees, that truly developed us, we would yield tremendous results by reducing turnover with the employees as well as with the clients. So ultimately, a long-term plan was devised that would shift the direction of the firm in the best way possible. And that started with personal development of its employees, where we focused a lot on self-awareness and being vulnerable and being authentic. Then we took it a step further to focus on interpersonal development, which we discussed different communication methods, which were really designed to help us interact effectively with each other as well as with the clients. And then the last step was developing the organization. We constantly challenged ourselves and asked on a daily basis, what is the client's experience with us? When people think of financial planning, I think a major consensus is that we just invest our money. Contrary to that belief, we provide holistic financial advice. So that just means we discuss different family ties. We need to know who the beneficiaries are when a client passes away. We talk about income taxes. We talk about estate planning and so forth. So the trust truly needs to be there, as well as the relationship, in order for them to have the best experience with us. So that is the story. Stay tuned for what happens next.
Let's look a little deeper into the subject. Let's check out the short video on retention and the disengaged employee.
Full day for you. Yeah, great. Well, I generally come in at least 15 minutes late. I use the side door. That way Lumberg can't see me. And after that, I just sort of space out for about an hour.
Hey. Space out?
Yeah, I just stare at my desk. But it looks like I'm working. I do that for probably another hour after lunch, too. I'd say in a given week, I probably only do about 15 minutes of real, actual work. Peter, would you be a good sport and indulge us and just tell us a little more? Oh, yeah. Let me tell you something about TPS reports. The thing is, Bob, it's not that I'm lazy. It's that I just don't care. Don't care? It's a problem of motivation, all right? Now, if I work my ass off and Initech ships a few extra units, I don't see another dime. So where's the motivation? And here's something else, Bob. I have 8 different bosses right now.
I beg your pardon?
8 bosses.
8?
8, Bob. So that means that when I make a mistake, I have 8 different people coming by to tell me about it. That's my only real motivation, is not to be hassled. That and the fear of losing my job. But you know, Bob, that'll only make someone work just hard enough not to get fired.
Would you bear with me for just a second, please?
Okay.
What if, and believe me, this is hypothetical, but what if you were offered some kind of a stock option equity sharing program? Would that do anything for you?
I don't know, I guess. Listen, I'm going to go. It's been really nice talking to both of you guys.
Absolutely. The pleasure's all on this side of the table, trust me.
Good luck with your layoffs, all right? I hope your firings go really well.
Excellent, great. Wow.
There is a lot of data around why having a disengaged associate can hurt the organization. It is not just harmful to lose internal people. There are repercussions when even the client turnover is high. It can mainly result in unhappy clients who take their business elsewhere. Here's one very upset customer sharing their concerns. I know Paul has gotten really upset lately. Let's check in on him. Hey, Paul.
These past few months have been a nightmare. We had 3 employees quit in the last month. And clients are starting to pick up on it. And I think the biggest issue is we don't know where the firm is heading. We don't know the mission. We don't know the vision. We don't know if there are any plans to course correct. I've been talking to a few of my colleagues, and we're really feeling disconnected with our leadership team. One of them asked me, do you think the practices that we have at the firm align with the vision? And I had to really stop and think because, number one, I don't even know the vision of the firm, right? I don't even remember being taught that. And two, I still struggle with fully understanding all of the details of how each department works with one another. And I think that's a problem. There's this huge communication barrier that needs to be addressed and needs to be resolved. And it doesn't look like that's going to happen anytime soon. I was talking to another one of my colleagues, and before I joined the firm, apparently there was a fist fight with 2 employees. And that's just not an environment that I would want to be a part of, nor would I want my clients to know that this type of thing was happening with the people that are managing my money, right? And speaking of clients, they're also getting fed up with us. And quite frankly, I don't blame them. Every year they come into our office expecting to speak with the same financial advisor about their finances, right? Because that's realistic. But every year they end up being disappointed to hear that their advisor left. So it's been horrible. We've had a number of clients that terminated our agreements just because of the lack of transparency. We have clients that just don't want to meet anymore because they don't have their financial advisor out here at the firm anymore. So it's just been crazy. And internally, we argue every single day. Nothing seems urgent to resolve, which I think is the most important part. And it's the most frustrating, I think, for me. We just come into work every single day, and you can just feel this tension in the air. It's so thin, you can just cut it with a knife, right? And I have no idea what the next steps are. I just hope that the leadership team wants to be around in the next 30 years because something has to change. And I personally, I can't deal with this every single day.
The Paul's company hired Travis and I as consultants to strategize about the solution to the high turnover. And we knew that winning minds was important. There's so many benefits to paying attention to high turnover. There's a lot of data that supports spending time on this important subject. So we spoke with the staff and observed them to identify the reasons that contribute to their high turnover. And if you might remember in Paul's introductory video, he mentioned that the company was disjointed. They did not share a vision. They worked in silos. Communication was a huge issue. And we knew that in order to help the company, the turnaround needed to come not just from the boss, but from with other areas within the organization. And that reconnecting the employees with a purpose and a common goal could help turn things around and regain confidence from their clients. So we first discovered that the team needed a vision. And it was agreed that they would be a learning organization. With that, the team came up with a timeline to institute those changes, how communication would filter down within the organization, and what the vision actually looked like in terms of quantifiables for both clients and future retention. Then they decided to have this huge cultural vision kickoff meeting. And it was there that they began the strategy to develop personal skills in terms of being the learner and what does that look like with authenticity, responsibility, and proactiveness. They learned about developing interpersonal skills and the communication methods. And then again, they took it a step further in terms of how this impacts the client with the overall organization. In addition, they looked into some monthly educational meetings and some core values. But let me take you to Travis, who is our virtual consultant. He's going to share a little bit about his experiences personally and how he then applied that to the team. Travis?
Thanks, Lisa. I wanted to chime in here as I had a pretty relevant experience at my previous employer where I worked as a remote account manager. And during this time, I'd be hearing through the grapevine that employee morale back at the office was low, and the company had been struggling with turnover, most specifically in the sales team. And this team had, at the time, been divided into two main groups, with the newer manager presiding over the younger group. Now, due to the low morale, there were some of the opinion in the office that the new manager might not be a proper fit to lead the team of more junior employees who were deciding what to do with her moving forward. And so, wanting to see what I might be able to do, I requested to return to the office for a few days a week to monitor the situation and what might be causing the drop-off in retention. Now, during this time, I was able to observe the team closely, and I caught up with them whenever I could, wanted to get their ideas almost as a little bit of a spy to see if I could really find where the main issue of discontent was. And so, during this time, I became aware that the previous training manager had moved on, and there was a newer, much more bare-bones training system in place. And where the organization once spent over a month training new employees, they were now spending less than a week. So naturally, the new employees did not have the proper building blocks in place to help set them up for success. So while I wasn't in a management role at the time, I asked if there could be any adjustments to the training system that was currently in place. And without going through an entire overhaul, maybe we could do something like having weekly team meetups that would end up serving as a catalyst for some kind of advanced employee training. And so I asked the manager if this could be done at the time, and she was very receptive to this. And so twice a week, the new team would meet to fine-tune their skills and try to learn from each other in new training workshops. And these were incredibly collaborative, they were team-based, and very open to questions and new ideas. So since the implementation of these workshops, employee turnover dropped dramatically to the point of being nearly a non-issue. And during the course of our consultations with the organization, it became clear that there could also be dramatic improvements made to their training curriculum. So both Lisa and I have encouraged extensive training and change with our clients that's both hands-on and interactive in nature. And these have been met with tremendous success in boosting overall employee morale, and most importantly, with the building employee retention. So therefore, our third step as consultants, we've developed monthly educational sessions during team meetings. We help as executive business coaches to facilitate training that's revolved around our strategy. Trainings and the meetings were very interactive, and they allowed us as adult learners to discuss how the skills learned translate to providing quality service to clients. These meetings are very open-ended in nature, and they're both their guidance and the exchange of the ideas. Employees were constantly asked to share what was working and what they thought could improve within the training program, and others were allowed to respond with their best ideas that could be implemented to present the best overall benefit to employee training and success. Finally, the company developed both a strategic vision and a cultural vision document, which we integrate into every team meeting. And the strategy and core values were placed on the wall. These are constant visual reminders. A lot of the times, the team is able to point out the value of others and their efforts through email or during meetings. And these subtle reminders will constantly reinforce why the team is doing what they're doing. And on top of that, this enforces the feeling of belonging to a family-oriented culture where each employee is valued for what they bring to the table. This helps set a system in place where people want to be able to contribute. They want to be able to point to the others for success. They want to be able to point to themselves for success. And it makes you feel like you're in a place that belongs with. Overall, provides a mass boost to overall employee retention. And of course, the lack of drop-off. So to summarize, we allow the team to contribute ideas that would utilize in improving the overall climate. The vision is made clear and the core values are determined and taught to everyone. But in addition, they don't just live up on a wall for people to ignore. They're part of the everyday, in the conversation, in the action, and the decision making. Thanks.
So, how did this help the organization? Let's check back in with Paul. Hey, Paul, how are things now?
So I cannot emphasize how happy I am with the way things are going around here. I mean, I've never felt this engaged and valued at work. The cultural vision kickoff meeting laid the foundation for us. And the president opened up by saying this quote where he said, you know, here we're aiming to become a better firm, not just a bigger firm. And for me, I mean, that was such a simple yet profound statement, right? The leadership team expressed to us, you know, how we're going to actively commit to building loyal and long-standing relationships, not just with us, but with our clients. And they also talked about wanting to build this productive and fulfilling and fun culture. One of the pillars specifically he discussed was listening and embracing feedback. And I think this has been one of the most beneficial tools for us. You know, we're not only listening to the feedback from clients, but we're listening to feedback from each other and colleagues within the industry in order to foster this environment that truly creates this innovative sort of atmosphere. And questions are welcomed all the time because these type of conversations promote learning and relationship building. Since the kickoff meeting, we've hired a business coach to facilitate some trainings for us where we discuss topics such as emotional intelligence, being productive, being authentic, being proactive, as well as having honest, direct, and respectful conversations. And these tools I've learned along the way makes me feel like the company genuinely wants to invest in me. And a lot of my colleagues seem to love the policy of, you know, have fun at work. I'm now the social committee lead. So I've been seeing firsthand how this policy plays out. You know, we've turned the office into a putt-putt course. We go to happy hours regularly after work, and we attend this off-campus company retreat every summer out of state. And these might seem like isolated events, but it all comes back to strengthening each of the employees' personal and interpersonal skills. And therefore, that increases the efficiency of our firm because it just rebuilds the trust of our customers and reduces client turnover. So it's been amazing. I don't want to work anywhere else. This culture that they built is just so amazing, and I can definitely tell how our practices align with our vision now. And I truly appreciate them communicating all of this with us, so we really understand what's going on. So, yeah, happy to be here.
Job one is ensuring the employee knows the strategy, the objective, and their role in the process. This proved to be key in this situation of retention. For more reading on the subject, here are some great resources. And thank you for taking the time to watch our presentation.